Mercedes Ostermann-Vanessen here from the BuddhistTrader.com, where I deal with all matters of the mind. Today I'm going to share with you a very personal experience. I thought for a while about whether or not I should talk about this. However, I think in view of the massive energetic shifts which are going on all around us and are affecting us on literally a multi-dimensional level, it is quite important that I share what happened to me this week when I decided, would you believe, to paint the beams in my very old dining room, which is about 300 odd years old. And what occurred during that experience. The reason I did this was that room isn't used very often, particularly during the summer months, and in the advent of my new meditation venture, where I occasionally have clients who come for a daily meditation retreat, which involves a lunch where we eat purely organic food in silence, but that's beyond the point. I thought, well, it just needed refreshing because there was something about the energy I was not 100% au fait with. I live in Nottinghamshire in the United Kingdom, in a very lovely area, which is energetically challenged. And I have talked about this before. There are many ley lines, and on my property in particular, there are two quite major ley lines which are literally crossing in the property. You can see it on all the grid maps, and while it is wonderful, it also heightens any energetic instabilities, of which there are a lot going on at the moment with the tectonic plates which are moving, and the increasing sun activity, and not to mention the Schumann waves we have discovered on in quite a number of videos here. So I inadvertently entered into a space clearing exercise without my knowledge. The room has got fairly low ceilings, and the beams are very, very big and heavy, and they had been painted at some point with lead paint, so and probably not been touched for, good God, at least 50 years, possibly quite a bit longer. So and there had been one or two problems with water leaking, and so there were only sort of quick patch-up jobs. So I thought, right, okay, just give myself a break from these sort of high energy states we have been experiencing of late. I thought it'd be really good for me to go about doing this, lending my energy to this project, because, as I said, particularly in view of the fact that there will be more of my clients in very small groups who will have the pleasure to come to my house and see and feel the energy for themselves. So I start painting the first day. Everything seems to be fine and dandy. The second day, I noticed I wasn't feeling so good. And I should say, by the way, it's a very well-known fact, when you enter into energy spots where there are blockages, and you spend time in that area, or start manipulating the energy because you are then releasing something that is dormant in the fabric of the earth, in the fabric of buildings. We talk about cell memory a lot in this respect. It can make you very, very ill, particularly as this, as it just happened to me. It completely took me by surprise. I mean, I've lived here for a number of years with my partner, and it never occurred to me that there would be something untoward going on here. Anyway, so on the second day, I noticed a distinct drop in my mood, and I meditate every day, and there really wasn't any reason for this to happen. On the second day also, I was working in one area, took an oil painting off, which then had to be put back again, and the, the nails wouldn't go into the wall. I hit my thumb and various other things, which to anybody who has done space clearing or knows a little bit about energy will understand that these things are signs that you are in a very dense energetic spot, and a big caveat must be assured. Anyway, yours truly, who really should know better, having done space clearings internationally, and of course here in Nottinghamshire and in Lincolnshire, and the surrounding areas, should have known better. I still, would you believe, did not take any notice, carried on, and just having the overall goal in mind, focusing and visualizing on what I was doing in a job which at this point I have to confess I really did not enjoy anymore. So on the third day I was dead, and I should say I'd probably spend on average every day about 4 hours painting these beams. And on the third day frankly, I couldn't care whether I was alive or dead anymore. There was no energy, no nothing. I thought, this is really strange. And I still did not take any notice. My partner was at the time going through a change in his business, and which was involving also quite a few stressful moments. So of course I thought it's all to do with this, rather than linking the two together. Computer issues, my computer wasn't working. He had to upload something for the FCA with compliance. Their website wasn't working for them. They had to spend an entire day to get it sorted so that he could log in the information. Yours truly still did not connect. Hello, where was I living? I mean, I certainly wasn't in my usual conscious aware state, and which I'm normally in, stuff, when I go out and do space clearings or work with clients or whatever. I mean, I was just in a daze. And this, incidentally, is also typical what happens when these things creep up on us. And this is virtually what they do. You don't usually, unless it's very, very bad, you step from one beautiful area into the next. It can happen, when we are working with ley lines and geopathic stress lines, but normally, so we are tuned in beforehand, and you have a protective shield up. Well, of course, working in my own home, it just had not occurred to me. On day 3, I thought, right, I only knew one thing: I had to get the job finished. And I did. And then I thought, right, okay, it's time to go, leave the house. I just felt I had to leave the house, do something entirely different, and literally mentally regroup. And then I sat down for a very, very long meditation for a couple of hours or so, and still nothing major did break at that point until a little bit later, and it suddenly hit me what I had been doing. Of course, there is a lot of activity in this house and in the area where I live in general, and because of the shifts we are experiencing in the mantle of the earth, you can clear something and then it comes back. And we had recently had sort of quite a shift in, which moved the whole fabric of the building, a little bit. And you can feel it and see it in certain rooms. To say, this house in parts is very, very old. And you can see it in the garden where beds move. The whole grid is quite quite unstable around here, and it's to do also with the soil is very, very heavy clay, which adds to the issue. So and one is continually sort of working on things, and I had done recently, which is something perhaps I should also mention, some major work in my garden. Again, it's all to do with the meditations and things I do, and the energy is amazing. So, and then suddenly it became clear that I just needed to do some very, very thorough akar code clearing. Akar code clearing is when you let go of energies, and these are the energies of people you encounter during the day, or energies which may have been released, as in this case, in my property. And incidentally, yesterday I had people come to the house who know the place very well, and yeah, and they said how amazing that room felt. Without these are people who know nothing about space clearing, and certainly very, very little about how the energy works. So the room is cleared. Yours truly is feeling much better. I just thought I share this with you, just to show you how we can all inadvertently do something, and we wonder why we are feeling totally out of sync, why we don't have any energy. It is not necessarily that you have done something or need to change something. You may have just inadvertently unleashed some energy in the grid, and disturbed energy. I deliberately am avoiding the word negative energy, because it's all energy, but the lower energies, of course, they feed of something, and if something is released either through our own actions, or through the actions in the earth, through the interaction with other individuals, people can bring those kind of disturbed energies into a property. Hence, incidentally, I also am always very, very careful who is allowed into my house. There is a very, very strict vetting process that goes on, for that reason. So, a lot to digest here. Um, think about next time you seem to be feeling on edge or de-energized. Think what may have caused it. Meditation, of course, yes, we are coming back to that, will help you clear it. And certainly the Akka chord exercise, which is hugely, hugely important to do for anybody who does regular clearing work. But that's another video for my Feng Shui group. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please share it. I feel it is very important that more people understand what is going on around us in these, what shall we say, highly energetically charged times.